Narrative Pro offers an extensive animation system used for... Wait, hang on a sec. What did I... That's definitely not Ruben. There's some... It's Australian... Oh. Yeah, it's not Ruben. My name's Liam. I am the technical animator on Narrative Pro. Over the past couple of months, I've been working with the dev team to get an animation system together for the plugin, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on some of its features. What we've managed to cook up over the past couple of months is quite extensive. We support vehicles, combat, dialogue, and many other action-adventure mechanics like climbing. However, for this tutorial, we're going to focus on our third and first-person overlay system and how we utilize it to create a true first-person experience. Here I am as Manny in our test level. I'm running around using the Gasp motion matching library, and if I was to equip our rifle, I'm now layering in custom rifle animations on top of the Gasp locomotion. Now, what does that even mean? Well, if I was to open up our animation blueprint, a lot of this should look quite familiar to you if you've used the Gasp project before. But if we go further down the graph, we encounter this overlay section. So what's happening here is we have a linked anim layer that, in this case, we are populating with our rifle animations. This is then fed into a slot that we use to play our reload montages. And all of this is being passed into this magical layering node. And what this does is it combines our custom rifle animations with our Gasp unarmed locomotion. Now, to build an intuition for what's going on here, we can have a look at our skeletons. In yellow, this is going to be the unarmed Gasp locomotion. In green is going to be our custom rifle animations, and Manny is going to represent the final output pose of both of them blended together. I'll start running around now, and it's pretty good news what it outputs. It almost looks like we have a full set of rifle animations. We've run forward, run back, reload, but what's cool about it is it's just effectively this static animation blended on top of the Gasp stuff. So all you have to do is create this static rifle animation, and once they're blended together, you get an entire rifle locomotion set for free. This also works with any weapon, so I can now equip the pistol, and it's the same story. I get the full set, crouching, ADS, reloading. It's good. Now that we know how it works in third person, how does it work in first person? With the true first person body. Before we answer that, it's worth going over some common pitfalls with true first person cameras and how we tried to solve them. The first issue you'll encounter is where to put the camera. A common approach is to just slap it onto the third person head bone. But of course, this creates an extremely shaky image. The next issue is an animation one. When in first person, you want animations to play that look really good in that perspective. And that's what creates the issue. Animations in first person don't always look great in third person. And finally, the classic true first person issue of looking down into your own body. So the challenge for us was to make an animation system that supported third person overlays, seamless transitions into first person, bespoke animations in this perspective, all while solving the common pitfalls you would encounter when trying to implement a true first-person camera. And this is our solution. An independent animation blueprint that mixes together first and third person animation blueprint techniques, and it's called the biped arms. A great way to think about this is it's almost identical to how you would set up a camera in a first-person shooter. This technique involves having a set of floating arms in which both the camera and the arms mesh are in sync. This synchronization is what gives that first-person shooter feel, where the gun is always framed in front of the eyes. Now, this is where we depart from this formula. Usually, this camera would be floating around in a capsule, but we've gone to great lengths to ensure that the first-person arms and the camera are always framed to be correct relative to the third-person mesh. This means we get a stabilized camera, the camera never intersects with the third-person body, and we can play bespoke animations on our arms mesh. For now, that should be enough context for us to go ahead and make one of these overlay layers from scratch. So to do that, hop over to the overlay layers folder, navigate to the biped overlays subfolder, and in here you will find our firearm base animation blueprint. So what this is, it's a generic blueprint that controls all of the logic for our third person and first person animations. Anytime you want to make an overlay for a pistol, a rifle, a sniper rifle, you come in here and you subclass this animation blueprint. And to do that, right click, create child anim blueprint with skeleton, select our mani skeleton, and we create child. So let's just give this a good name and open it up. And once that's done, we can navigate to the edit defaults tab. And in here, you just have to fill in 4 animation assets. So I'll go over in a sec what these are, but for now I will just use some that we've made earlier. I'll go into our third person folder and I'll chuck in our third person aim sweep, our third person hip animation. I'll go to our first person folder, chuck in our first person hip animation and our first person blend space. Yeah, 4 animation assets, and once that's done, we'll go over to our ranged weapon item, and in here we'll go to our weapon anim layer tab, and this is where we find our subclassed animation blueprint that we've made. Select that and we're done. So now if we launch a session and equip our rifle, here's all of our animations. And yeah, it's quite simple to set up. The hardest part is authoring the animations, but that's okay, we're going to work that out now. So here are the 4 animations you're going to need to author yourself. The first 2, you can be pretty much an egg and get by. It's just a hip animation for the first person and a hip animation for the third person. Pretty simple stuff. The next step is the blend space. Pretty intuitive. We have an XY grid. X represents direction, Y represents speed, so just place your animations for your locomotion accordingly. The next animation you'll need to make is a little bit tricky. It's the aim sweep. The aim sweep is a 30 frame animation. On frame 0, we require you to have the character pointing 90 degrees up relative to the floor plane. On frame 15, to be aiming horizontal. And on frame 30, to be aiming 90 degrees down. Why we do this is because we use controller pitch to select a frame of this animation. When we have a controller pitch of 0, the animation blueprint will ask for frame 15. When controller pitch is 90, it will ask for frame 0. And of course, if controller pitch is negative 90, it will ask for frame 30. This is what gives us our third person aiming, or an aim sweep. One last thing to include in your custom animations are these layering curves. The function of these curves is to tell our layering node how to blend in these custom animations. We are currently working on streamlining this process, but for now, what you can do is come into our animations, copy these layering curves, and simply paste them onto yours. And that's an introduction into our overlay layers. Of course, this gets quite complicated and deserves many more tutorials, but for now, you should be able to get up and running with what you've learned today. Let's quickly go over some of the things we discussed. In our main animation blueprint, there is a linked anim layer. This linked anim layer is populated with the animation blueprint that we created earlier. That's the one that subclassed our firearm base, and we filled with our aim sweeps, our hip animations, our blend spaces. And this linked anim layer is fed into our magic layering node, which, if you remember earlier, combines our static rifle animations that were on the green skeleton with our gasp animations, which were on the orange skeleton. Please tell Ruben that this was okay. Oh, but seriously, we've got some pretty cool stuff coming. Hopefully some more tutorials soon.